Surprise, guess I should have known. No, now my mind is blown. No, surprise, guess I should have known. No, now my mind is blown. No, surprise, guess I should have known.
Hello, can you hear me? Welcome. Welcome, Amelia. Yeah, that's my new intro. I hope you like it. Thank you for being here. Thank you. Please follow the instructions. I'm a little bit out of breath because I realized just as I hit the intro that I need to use the restroom. But then I was like, so I ran to go to use the restroom and I'm like, I'm not going to be able to do this before the end of the intro. So, oh, well, whatever, first world problems or whatever. Anyway, welcome here. We have some stuff to go over. I'm going to check out the results of the poll right now. If you have not, thank you, Amelia. Thank you, Lauren. I am feeling better. I get in denial when I'm sick. I actually get in actual denial when I'm sick. And because I was sick over the holidays and I only get sick like once a year. And so I'm like, wait, I'm actually sick again. And I just thought it was allergies because I do get allergies. But thank you for asking. I really hate feeling sick, and it runs me down. And I'm used to the other kind of sickness, not the physical sickness. But anyway, if you have not taken the poll yet, please take the poll. I'm really interested in understanding people's level of interest or even knowledge of this creator that I'm about to talk about. And I'm looking at the poll right now. It looks like we have 21 votes and 52% of you say that you've never been a fan. So that assumes that you have some experience with her, but almost 20% of you are like, who the hell's Critical K? Now, some of you might just be, throwing shade by saying that. But I'm going to assume that a lot of you don't even know who the hell Critical K is. 5% of you are still fans, and that's fine. I'm not the type of person who's going to sit here and drag a creator. I'm going to drag her behavior. And 23% of you at this point are once a fan, but now not. And, if I was going to put myself in a category, I don't know. When I started first watching Critical K, it was Watts Island days. And was I I wouldn't call myself a fan. I'd call myself a lurker, because I thought she had interesting content about the Watts case. But my issue with her pretty quickly is that she branded herself as a creator who espoused and encouraged critical thinking. And if she didn't think that you applied critical thinking, she would call you a peasant. She would she has a very big personality. She can come across as very likable. She always came to her live streams very well prepared. She would give monologues, and she's very engaging with the chat. So she's an entertaining person. And just to be clear, she does still have a channel on YouTube. Now it is called Just K, but it is not, but it's not monetized. Her channel Critical K was terminated in August of 2021. So, quite some time ago. But like I was saying earlier, what got to me was that yeah, I agree, Lisa K. She talked this really big game about critical thinking. And I'm like, yes. Hello, Green Eyes. Hello, everybody coming in. Kendra, Lisa K, Amelia, that Lauren. I've Canadian Cat Lady, Danielle, Oz. Hope I haven't missed anybody. Green Eyes, I think I might have said hello. Anyway, so she would actually kind of browbeat people into this thinking that she was that if you didn't think critically like she thinks critically, then you're a peasant and you're dumb. But at the same time, she openly said that she would take the opposite side of any argument. That is not critical thinking. That is contrary thinking. That is almost like the opposite of critical thinking. That is just being contrary to be contrary. And that was my issue, is like, I was like, wait, you keep saying critical thinking, but you mean contrary thinking. You're being contrarian, not critical. Okay. And she took it really far. And obviously she took it so far that, yeah, I agree, Danielle. So Danielle says, I enjoyed some of her debates and could appreciate some of her stuff. Yeah, I agree. I mean, she's very entertaining. She was punitive and demeaning to her audience. She thought she was a genius, but I regarded her as merely YouTube smart. Okay. I mean, that's a fair take. And I just want to say at the gate here, I am not I'm not encouraging anybody to feel any type of specific way about her. She just kind of turned me off in the beginning with this idea of I'm a critical thinker, but she was actually taking the opposite side. And then as we continued to watch and she got a little bit bigger and a little bit bigger, her views became really radical. Like she would take radical views, right? And she had this ongoing tendency to victim blame. So I'm going to show you some of that content. What I'm going to show you is, yeah, that is true, Kendra. I've seen that, and it's sad, but the thing is so Kendra is saying, I can tell through the lawsuit. I can tell the lawsuit has beat down her confidence. You can tell watching her current lives. And I agree. I feel that she's putting on a really brave face. And, over time, I've gone back onto her current channel and have watched, some of her content here and there. And she'll address it, frankly, sometimes. And she'll be like, I'm going through a really hard time. But sometimes it's hard to discern, how much of that is just her being real and her really needing people to feel a certain way about her so that she can, because she's not monetized now. So she's using every other avenue she possibly can on the content front to collect money. So she's on Patreon and now she's on Facebook and she makes jewelry, do whatever you got to do. But, sometimes you just have to weigh, why is it that she's, talking about her issues. But, what I'm going to do is show you kind of the boisterous nature with which she would address some of these true crime cases and how she made a name for herself. And then the fact that she would be extremely confident and boastful and forceful. And this is a pattern with creators like her, and I'm referring specifically to Truth and Transparency, who I think, both of them consider each other friends. I don't know if they're still friends right now or not, but I know in the past they've been friends, and it feels like Lana has welcome to the stream, Smiley. It seems that Lana has almost considered Critical K a mentor in many ways, and in fact, I think that Critical K has called Lana kind of a protege, and and yeah, that is hi Golden narcissist be narkin. Yeah, I don't know if she's a narcissist or not. I hate labeling people, but yeah, a lot of the behavior is absolutely narcissistic. So one of the ways that she made a name for herself is by being very on top of the Chris Watts case. She did a lot of coverage on the Chris Watts case, and she took the side really of victim blaming Shanann Watts, and basically calling Chris Watts a nice guy. Gosh, Chris Watts is such a nice guy. There must be something going on with Shanann for him to do what he did to her and her children, as if it's all her fault that he committed a violent murder spree, right, on his family. So, and she ended up in the Netflix documentary about the Chris Watts case. If you saw put a 1 in the chat if you did not see the Netflix documentary. The Netflix documentary about Chris Watts' case, because there's a moment in the Netflix documentary where they show Critical K saying, and don't completely quote me, but I think she says, let's face it, Shanann was a bitch. Something like that. And that's all you see of her saying. And oh, you did not see it. Okay, interesting, Autumn. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. You know what, Golden? Critical K is not the only one who did that. Whatchamacallit, Truth and Transparency did that as well. Both of them did that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you kind of a couple of her takes on the Watts case, and then I'm going to show you the comments on her channel that got her in trouble with the Andrachio case, which is the case that earned her this lawsuit. And then I'm going to read the judgment, and the judgment. That was weird, huh, Danielle? I know it was weird. I remember looking up and being like, what? And then I'm going to read to you the judgment. And the judgment is like, it's almost like it tells the whole story of how her name is Karen, conducted herself in the course of the case. And it's completely opposite of how she boasted and presented herself, online. And how she's going to fight for First Amendment rights, and how this isn't right and it's wrong, and she's going to take up the mantle for this kind of online terrorism of people's freedom of speech rights. And then she literally fails to she so badly did not comply with court orders that this judgment against her is a sanction. Okay, it's a default judgment because they're sanctioning her. It was the best sanction they had, the best remedy they had, because they've been trying to get her to engage on a good faith level in this lawsuit, and she refuses to. She's been refusing to for 2 years. Okay. So let me get to some of this content, but yeah, she lost by default, and it was a sanction. I'll read it to you and you'll see what I'm talking about. But before I do that, I want to just give you guys a quick PSA. I'm assuming that most of you in the chat have a Facebook account, right? Pretty much Facebook account, you know, and or if you don't know that at one point you probably had a Facebook account, well, if you did or you do, you are part of a class where Facebook owes you money, and it's a yet to be determined amount of money because okay, fractured fairy tales, smart move. Yeah. So as part of a settlement, there is a settlement class of Facebook users that have been users from 2007 until December of 2022. And the amount is over $700 million. And here, I'm going to put the link in chat to where you can apply for your, oh, good. I'm glad you did it, Amelia. I just put the link in chat. That's where you can apply for your piece in the settlement. It may be $1, maybe it'll be $20. Who knows? They say that it depends on the length of time you have been an account holder and other things. I want my 50-cent payout too. I know. I was like, should I really be this nice and give this audience my PSA, or should I just keep that much more to myself? But no, this is a public service that I'm trying to give, and I am about holding social media accountable. And the reason that they owe this payout to a large class is because they sold our data to Cambridge Analytica to screw with the vote. Okay, I mean, that's just what happened. They did that 1,000%. And I'm not taking a side on, it did 1,000%. It happens so much that they owe us money for it. Okay. So anyway, let me get to this, some of this fuckery, some of this fuckery that happened back in the day with Critical K. Stop. All right, now here. Thank you, Fractured Fairy Tales. I appreciate that. Okay. Got that. Is it? No, that's not it. Okay, yeah. I think this is the one. Sorry, I have a few different tabs to go through. Yeah, fuckery is an understatement. I agree. By the way, please remember to hit the thumbs up. Thank you very much. All right. Get ready for some, maybe a little bit of a trigger warning. Okay. Because she doesn't hold back. All right.
She was just a bitch. I see it now. I see it. Clearly see it. I see it for what it is.
So that was just this is about Shanann Watts specifically. I'm just giving you, and this is from a channel that doesn't appear to really be posting anymore. It's called None Another Tea Channel. But she used to cover drama, and she used to cover Critical K a lot. I think this might be where she picks things up.
And here she is talking about Chris Watts's family and how, because she interviewed Chris's ex.
Let me try again.
I didn't believe it all. I didn't buy into it all.
Wait.
Spewing it as facts on her channel of very many followers. She had a huge following.
I didn't believe it all. I didn't buy into it all. But I did give them a voice. I did. I repeated what they said, posted what they said.
So now she's talking about, I think I should go back a little bit because she's, is this it?
We're sitting in the morgue. They were filling my head with stories about how terrible.
And here she is talking about Chris Watts's family and how, because she interviewed Chris's ex, she was talking for her channel.
I didn't believe it all. I didn't buy into it all. But I did give them a voice. I did. I repeated what they said, posted what they said. I fed the hyenas, the misogynistic hyenas in the group who wanted so badly to somehow find her at fault for what happened to her.
So this is now Critical Kate on her second channel, on the channel that she's on now, talking about her experience with covering the Watts case, and she's acting like she was merely responding to what her audience wanted. Yeah. Yeah, hearing, and that's exactly what she's doing. Fractured Fairy Tales. She's sourpussing. She's basically saying, I was just giving them what they wanted, and I fed them, and I fed into it, and I let them believe that, talk about how terrible Shanann a person she was. But I mean, she does not take any accountability really for her, the way she fed into it. She didn't have to keep picking up the narrative, but she did over and over and over again.
Not only find her at fault for what happened to her, but to absolve him of what he did to her. All the years of their marriage, how find a way to blame her for it, and even go so far as to speculate that she had Munchausen. Or berate the people who thought that she possibly could have Munchausen, because it's not your fault.
That's
It's
right.
not your fault you thought that way. It's the Watts' fault you thought that way.
That we disliked me, hated me. Why?
Your ex-girlfriend who swore up and down he was a fabulous guy, and all he wanted was to be a dad. He was a great guy. So what must it be about Shanann? What must be lurking there in this proverbial Eve that she destroyed her family? She must somehow be the cause. And women were so ready to do that to her. It was women. And I got sucked into it. I did.
Yep, you did.
Why did I get sucked into it, though? I think what happened was I allowed the commentary. I allowed the post. If anybody stood up and said, what?
So she allowed it. She's basically saying, I was just this passive creator who doesn't feed into any of it at all. But if you had any experience of being in her chat, she didn't allow. If she didn't want anything to be said in her chat, she didn't allow it. That wasn't allowed if she wasn't okay with it. So it just doesn't comport, I don't believe, in my opinion, with reality. Okay. Here's another, let me bring up another clip of her, of the same channel, discussing Shanann.
and I fucking liked him. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh.
I found it, he's kind of good looking. He's likable. He has really white teeth and likable eyes, and he's well spoken. I'm not gonna lie. I like
Talking about Chris Watts now.
Right.
I hated her and liked him.
Right.
I hated her and liked him.
And it sounds like, and I could be wrong, but it sounds like that's the glare that's on the string talking with her. And you can even hear in his voice, he don't even agree. Like, he don't even, like, the fuck, you know?
Well, I mean, from the first interview, you hated her? How?
From
The first video I saw of her, I hated her. All right, spit it out. She opened her butthole. She fucking opened her female hole. She opened that butthole, right? She opened her asshole for Chris Watts, and that's all it took.
Now she's talking about Nicole Casimir.
Right? Right? I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Just spill it, right? He fucking ate her asshole out. He fucked her asshole, and that hooked him. That's what we're supposed to believe, right?
She is a vile, nasty woman. That's the way to keep it classy. Fucking disgusting. You're nasty.
Yeah.
Right? And he even wrote her a letter saying,
Okay.
Your butt tasted so good.
Oh,
Are you willing to concede that I was telling the truth and that I never said she killed her girls? I've always said, I proved it. It's on my YouTube in the community section.
And I really absolutely and 100% believe her capable of killing her daughters. I mean, I think she was a narcissistic piece of trash. Absolutely.
And she puts out there on the internet for everyone to see, saying Shanann's the one who killed her girls.
Yep.
When we know that's a blatant fucking lie. So why would you put that shit out there?
Did you share a picture of Frankie Ruchek naked?
Did I share a picture of Frankie Ruchek naked? No, his ex-girlfriend did. You don't get the right to murder.
So she actually did. Thank you, Fractor Fairy Tales. She actually did share that photo. But she's saying the girlfriend shared the photo, but she also shared it. So she's like, oh no, it's the girlfriend's fault because the girlfriend's the one that, made it available. Right. So it's all on the girlfriend, but, Ms. Yax did not have to also then share it as well. You see, she chose to also share it. So yeah, there was an image, Danielle, that and it's an image of Frankie Ruchek passed out, and you can't see any genitalia or anything, but you can tell that there's like a penis pump on him, and it's not flattering. It's from a long time ago, and that went around the internet. It went around on Critical K's channel and in her behind the scenes chats, and also Lana put it in one of her videos. It came up in one of my most recent live streams. If you were watching close attention, you could see that it kind of came up, but I didn't flag it. So that's those things happened. So now I'm going to share with you the things that she said about the mother of Christian Andreacchio. Now, how many of you put a 1 in chat if you are familiar with the Christian Andreacchio case? And I'll wait for a moment here while I'm grabbing that clip. Okay, so some of you are, a lot of you are. cool. So then you know that his death was ruled a suicide, but his family doesn't believe. Yes, that's right, Danielle. And his family doesn't believe that it was a suicide. They believe, that's right, that Ellen. They believe that he was murdered. And so Kendall Rae did a series actually on the case and went out, and she did an amazing job covering, all the whole situation. And Critical K, being the contrarian that she is, decided to take the other side. And she believed that Christian's roommate and girlfriend were being wrongfully vilified in the case, that it was that Rae was putting the blame on these two people. Now, I personally haven't followed the case close enough, haven't dug into it to have a strong opinion about whether he died by suicide or was murdered. So I don't want to get into that. But I do believe in the mother's right to, challenge and bring out facts that were questionable about the investigation. And that's basically what Kendall Rae did in her series, was to show the parts of the investigation that were questionable. And so what Critical K did was basically come out and say, I'm going to tear up, like she was aggressive, extremely aggressive in her language, in saying that she's going to tear apart the case limb by limb that Kendall Rae put on her series. She basically was what Critical K was doing at the time. She had around, I would say, 16, 17,000 subscribers or something like that. And Kendall Rae, like, what does she have now? Like 2 million, 3 million subscribers? I mean, she has a lot of subscribers, but at the time, she probably had about 1 million subscribers. And to me, it looked very much like she was punching up. Critical K was punching up. She was looking for a way to glean some kind of hate subscribers off of the Kendall Rae, Christian Andreacchio coverage. That was a known strategy of Critical K's, is to take the opposite view and then get subscribers that way, right? So, but she didn't just do that. She goes over the line in her analysis, and she becomes, like Shar is saying, she becomes a bully in that process. And when she started to address, I know, fractured fairy tales, it was really off-putting. It was like really off-putting. Like, why? Like, it just was extremely off-putting. Why do that? Why go after somebody like that? Oh, 3.5 million now. That's awesome. I think that's great. I've always liked her as a creator. Yeah. So she doesn't just, say, okay, here's the case that Kendall Rae presented, along with the help of Rae Andreacchio and the family. She says the most. She makes accusations. She basically does she conducts, and if you guys have been watching my streams, a Darvo on behalf of other people, right? So let me show you some of that here. Boop, 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 boop. I wish it was more seamless to do this sharing kind of thing. All right, here we go.
This is people need to understand this. There are certain hallmarks.
So now she's about to talk about, she's describing, okay, see you later, Smiley. Thanks for being here. She's describing the way Rae Andreacchio types, and then she's gonna keep talking about Rae Andreacchio.
That reveal how controlling someone is in text. If
Kurt,
someone double space is if they double space after a period, if they go yes,
Mhm.
if they go yes, they hitting.
So she's trying to say that if you type and you put a double space after your period, that means you're controlling. What? You guys, no. You know what that means? That means you're old school. That's all it means. It means you've been taught in the old school way of typing. That's all. I just it was unbelievable analysis.
with their thumb twice. Yes, it's very controlling. She puts yes, double space. She has been posting for several weeks. Now I haven't been posting. I've been doing the hard work.
How does she know if she hasn't been listening?
Exactly. And she says,
How does
not
she,
that many people listen to her, period. Double space. I just ignore her. No, you don't, Rae. You don't ignore me. You're not ignoring me.
Right.
You're very well aware of me. And you know that I have taken up for Dylan and Whitley. And I'm a force to be reckoned with. I'm a powerball. You never met a motherfucker like me, Rae. And you know it. You sense it. And you're going to try to tell people that you just are ignoring me. And you're not. You know that I'm coming for this narrative. And I'm going to fight for these people. I'm going to fight for fairness and balance where they're concerned. And you're not comfortable with that because you have gotten really used to people kowtowing to you and bowing to you and towing your narrative for you. It's become real easy for you to do online. And it needs to be like not easy for you. Like everyone has to have someone, right? That's their wall.
Well, and it has brought out.
Later on here, she says a few other things. Hold on.
Okay, so
Yeah, and this is on a
that was
Crazy House Saloon.
if you remember.
Troubling to me. Actual YouTube to see comments because there's that weird delay and it just throws me all off. Like I can't handle it. Hi, Jeanette. Hi, Cheryl. Hi, Sabrina. Hi, Jonesy. Hi, Melissa. So I don't know what to do. I'm not going to be able to see the super chats. If you guys throw super chats at me, a whole lot. So I want to get started as soon as possible.
Give me just a minute. I'm going to cross to. So.
Sorry, there's all the. That's a problem with live streams. Is there's always like
And you guys see me commenting on StreamYard. Angie Rae. Hi, C Muff. Like, Anya. All right, let's get started because I have a lot.
Come on.
One calls, and I have two that I'm going to be playing back to back. First thing I want to say is if Rae wants to try this case on social media, as she has been attempting to do since 2017, I'm happy to oblige her, right? I'm happy to oblige her. And until
now, listen to the words she says. Now, listen to the big game she talks. Listen to like, she's like, oh, right? Like she's like, come at me. I'm here, girl. Come fight me, right? What? Listen to this.
Till now, she has really dominated the narrative about this case via intimidation, bullying, outright lies. And I sort of set the groundwork for a lot of that the other night. And I'm going to continue to lay that groundwork and continue to provide proof of the things that I claim, that she has attempted to control the narrative via intimidation, bullying, lies, bribery, getting people drunk, getting young people drunk.
Did you hear that? So she just said, I'm going to replay that again. I just want to make sure you didn't miss that. What she just said, that Rae Andreacchio, a mental health practitioner, okay, in her community, has been doing with young people. All right.
Has attempted to control the narrative via intimidation, bullying, lies, bribery, getting people drunk, getting young people drunk, etc., etc. So, and that's very troubling to me, but she has really dominated.
So now you know about defamation cases, that if something is true, you know, if Critical K had the goods to back this up, to back this information up, she was within her rights to say these things. But it appears now, because of the outcome of this lawsuit, that she was, as my thumbnail was saying, she was writing checks with her mouse that her ash couldn't cash. Okay? That's what she was doing here, straight up. And so, like, I just think this is a huge. I like to talk about cautionary tales. I've done series, of cautionary tales. This is a cautionary tale, on steroids. Okay, Critical K had a growing channel at one time. She had just retired from her real job that she had for several years, because she said on her own channel that she was earning enough money with her Patreon and her YouTube channel and her memberships and all of that to retire from her other job, from her regular job. And boom, as soon as that happened, she gets sued for $10 million, and her channel gets terminated for harassment and bullying. All right. And if you go and look at her current channel that she's on right now, she's not, she still talks a big game, but as somebody else mentioned earlier, not with quite the same confidence. She does seem a little bit defeated, and I don't blame her, for feeling that way, but she's not quite owning it, right?
The narrative, her and her family, her brother and her children. And it's time for the other side to have their say. It's time for the other side to have someone who takes up the mantle for them. Until now, they really haven't had anybody. I think they've had maybe
so those are the statements in question. Those are the things that were actually written into the complaint when the lawsuit was filed in June of 2021. Alexandra, she hasn't been ordered to pay yet. I'm going to actually read now the order, and it'll explain to you how they're going to decide how much she has to pay. And there's a little bit of shade thrown into this order, because the way Critical K conducted herself in this lawsuit over the last 2 years, and they write it out in the narrative in this order. Yes, she was suing for $10 million, that Ellen. The way she has conducted herself is completely opposite of the way she presented herself on YouTube. Does that sound familiar? Does it sound familiar to the vulture culture genre? Let's talk a big game. Let's game the algorithm, get a bunch of followers. Let's start earning a lot of money, so much money that we can quit our job. But let's do it by being total assholes to victims, right? Let's do it by being as controversial as possible and not giving a shit about who we hurt, in terms of victims of true crime. right? Let's not care about the parents of true crime victims or the parents of dead children and what we say about them and how we ruin their reputations, so that I can be as loud and as attention getting as possible, so that I can grow my channel. And then when I get accused of something, I'm going to either defend myself boisterously, or I'm going to sue you. Thank you very much, T King. I'm going to sue you to make sure that everybody knows that you're wrong. And then I'm not even going to fight. I'm going to sue you. I'm going to make content out of the lawsuit, but I'm not going to even fight it in court. Or I'm not even going to fight it adequately in court. I'm not going to treat the court seriously. I'm going to treat it super seriously on YouTube. I'm going to be real serious. I'm going to act all professional about it on YouTube. But when I get to court, I'm going to miss deadlines. I'm going to be super disrespectful. I'm going to act like a complete child. That there's a common theme. You see that frankly with Jonathan Lee Riches. He's done that to the court. He's done that online. He's behaving really badly the last week or so. You see that with Bullhorn Betty. She's played with the courts like that. You see that with Truth and Transparency. That is in active mode right now. And now we're seeing how Critical K talked this big game. And now let's read the judgment that she got as a result of that. Shall we? All right. La, 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 la. By the way, thank you all for being here. Please hit the like button. Consider becoming a member to support the channel and get access to members only perks. There it is. All right. So it's not a super long order, and I'll skip over some of the boring parts. But it really helps tell the story, so it helps you understand what happened in the case. So that's one of the reasons I'm going to read a lot of it, because it tells the story of what happened. How it was filed. Be quiet, Steve. Sorry. And let me get it bigger on the screen here so you can see it. All right. Factual and procedural history. Plaintiff Rae Andreacchio is the mother of Christian Andreacchio, a young man who allegedly died under suspicious circumstances in 2014. She resides in Lauderdale County, Mississippi, where she is a mental health service provider. Defendant Karen Yax is a prominent social figure known to her followers as the Critical K. She operates a webcast where she discusses real crime stories. On March 21st and April 11, 2021, Yax discussed Christian Andreacchio's death on her webcast. Yax stated that Rae Andreacchio has really dominated the narrative about this case via intimidation, bullying, outright lies, bribery, getting people drunk, and getting young people drunk, among other claims. Yax also stated, I really do believe that Hayes Mitchell, a different patient, was treated by Rae, and Hayes is now dead with a drug overdose. He's dead also by self-harm. So she has a son that is dead by self-harm, and she has a patient who is dead by self-harm. These are the things she said. Andrachio contends that these statements leave the false impression that she has somehow caused or contributed to their deaths. Andrachio adds that these statements have defamed or painted her in a false light, thereby causing her to suffer injury in her reputation and or emotional damage. Accordingly, she filed this suit against Yax on June 4, 2021, alleging defamation and false light invasion of privacy. Yax filed her answer on June 24, 2021, in which case she asserted that this court lacks personal jurisdiction over her. Docket number 3, Yax then filed a motion to dismiss on August 12, 2021, which this court subsequently denied on November 19th. On November 30th, 2021, the magistrate judge assigned to this case scheduled a telephonic case management conference for December 14th, 2021. Court staff mailed and emailed notice of the hearing to Yax. On December 14th, however, Yax failed to dial into the conference. After issuing an order to show cause, the magistrate judge sanctioned Yax $100. Yax timely paid the sanction. Discovery commenced. So what you're hearing about here is that she, you know, if you followed along with her at all, she had come on and said that she was going to fight this vigorously. And I don't remember if she said she was going to hire a lawyer. I don't remember her doing any phony fundraisers or anything like that. So at least, you know, credit where credit's due. But she did say she was going to fight this vigorously. She ended up going pro se and representing herself. So this is everything that's happening is being done all by her, not by any counsel that she had representing her. Okay, so continuing. In August, and what you just heard now is that she failed. She was given notice of the first conference, the first meeting, and she failed to show. Even though they told her, you know, this thing isn't going to get dismissed, and her motion to dismiss was based on jurisdiction, and they said, nope, we do have jurisdiction. Paul says, I'm trying to remember if Critical Case said anti-Semitic thoughts. You know, I remember a PDF running around about her that was presented on some channels where she said some actually pretty generally bigoted things, but I don't, you know, yes, I'm pretty sure that anti-Semitic thoughts were part of it. So yeah, anyway. In August 2022, Yax moved to have a fast approaching settlement conference conducted by telephone or video. The magistrate judge denied the request, but postponed the settlement conference to allow Yax additional time to make travel arrangements. The magistrate judge further ordered the parties to confer and select mutually agreeable dates to hold the conference in person. Andrachio says Yax refused to comply with the court's order to confer and pick a date for the settlement conference. On September, so she's just continuing to just be obstinate, not cooperating, not complying, talking a big game on YouTube, not doing crap in, you know, behind the scenes. On September 1st, 2022, the magistrate judge scheduled a settlement conference for October 18, 2022. Notice of hearing of said blah, blah, blah. Yax was directed to appear in person. A text-only order dated October 14th repeated this instruction. Yax, however, failed to appear. Andrachio subsequently moved for sanctions pursuant to rule blah, blah, blah for Yax's failure to attend the settlement conference and filed the present motion for default judgment under rules blah, blah, blah. In her brief seeking default judgment, Andrachio notes 3 instances in which Yax disobeyed the court's orders. 1, the failure to dial into the case management conference, the failure to confer with plaintiff's counsel regarding the settlement conference dates, and 3, the failure to attend the in-person settlement conference. Andrachio argues that Yax's failure to appear was deliberate, as Yax had apparently sent the magistrate judge a September 1st, 2022 email explaining that Yax was unprepared to validate long-arm jurisdiction by traveling to the state of Mississippi and subjecting myself to a process I am woefully ill-equipped to defend myself against this bogus suit designed to harass, intimidate, and terrify me. So that was one, hey Barb. So that was one of the things that Critical K would do regularly when she would talk about this case, is she would talk about how this is a case that was brought just to harass and intimidate her and terrorize her. So now she's a victim of this lawsuit. She like the stuff that came out of her mouth, she's not going to take accountability for it. There's nothing wrong with what she said. Even though she never proved that Rae Andreacchio did any of these things, it's totally okay. She can go on her YouTube channel and say all these things. She's a public figure, I mean, but now she's a victim of this lawsuit that's being brought against her by the mother of a guy who's dead, and she's smearing his name and the mother's name, right? So yeah, she didn't appear multiple times, and you're even going to hear more about her conduct in a moment here. Oh, the other thing is, so what she was basically trying to do is say, hey, if I travel to Mississippi to attend in person, then you're going to say that I am now subject of jurisdiction. And they actually even gave her a pass, and they said, no, you showing up for this conference or this hearing will not subjugate you to jurisdiction if you want to argue your motion. But she wouldn't, but she still failed to go. Sorry. I need to take a drink. Oh. All right. So continuing on. Andrachio adds that on October 18, 2022 at 10:28 a.m., mere minutes before the magistrate judge was set to begin the settlement conference, Yax texted a third party the following. Here come some receipts. The court threatened to sanction me again. Last time they sanctioned me $100. Who knows what they will do this time? But I'm not going there ever. It's just not even possible. For these reasons, Andrachio seeks a default judgment under Rules 16 and 37. In a response brief opposing sanctions, Yax argues that her absence from the settlement conference was due to economic constraints, lack of access to reasonable legal counsel, and a legitimate fear for her physical safety, mental health, and well-being. In reply, Andrachio contends that Yax's poverty is very much in doubt, observing that Yax mailed, listen to this part. If you're not listening right now, if you're kind of tuning out, listen to this right now, okay, you guys? Yax's poverty is very much in doubt, observing that Yax mailed her original motion to dismiss from Honolulu, Hawaii. Okay, you guys? So one of the main reasons Critical K was saying that she just can't possibly, travel. She's not part of this this jurisdiction. She can't hire a lawyer, any of this, is because she can't afford this. It's like she's at the brink of poverty, but she mailed her motion from Hawaii. Okay. She lives in Michigan. Okay. So she can't travel from Michigan to Mississippi. And I'm pretty sure, if I know my geography, that Mississippi is closer to Michigan than Hawaii is to Michigan. Am I right? I mean, tell me if I'm wrong or if I'm right. Am I wrong? Am I right? I mean, I know that from where I am, it's like a 5-hour flight to Hawaii. And it's like a 5-hour flight to Michigan. Okay. So it's like a 10-hour flight to Hawaii. That's a lot of money. And Hawaiian visits are not inexpensive, y'all. Have you been to Hawaii? It's a pretty penny. All right. And she was on the Big Island. So I've never been to the Big Island, can't compare. But all I'm saying is, you're supposed to be in true crime. And you're supposed to be a critical thinker. So how are you going to actually, in clear thinking, mail a motion to dismiss based on jurisdiction claiming poverty from Honolulu? I don't. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah. All right, so let me continue. There's a little bit more shade at the end, and we're almost there. On February 1st, 2023, the undersigned scheduled a motions hearing for March 2023. The scheduling order specifically noted the following: the defendant is reassured that she will not waive her personal jurisdiction defense merely by appearing for a hearing in this case. She has already preserved her jurisdictional defense for further review. On March 10th, so they're giving her all kinds of leeway, okay? They're saying you can come here and still argue that we don't have jurisdiction. On March 10th, the magistrate judge granted Andrachio's motion for Rule 16 sanctions in the amount of $895.67. That sum is due to the clerk court on or before May 1st, 2023. On March 20th, Yax did not appear at the motions hearing before the undersigned. The court denied Yax's outstanding motions as abandoned and pledged to rule the outstanding motion for default judgment in due course. And now they discuss the case law, and which is, you know, a little bit legalese. That's more for the sake of the ruling. And then we go to discussion. In this case, the plaintiff has demonstrated all four elements of the applicable legal standard. First, Yax has repeatedly violated court orders by failing to participate in telephonic and in-person hearings. These violations have been knowing and willful. Although she acknowledges in her filings that her presence would be beneficial to the court in adjudicating this unfortunate matter, she has texted a third party explaining that she will not come to Mississippi for this case ever. Despite the undersigned's order reassuring Yax that she would not forfeit her personal jurisdiction defense by appearing for a motions hearing, she failed to attend that too. And while Yax protests that she lacks funding to participate in this litigation, the excuse only goes so far, since she could have participated in the telephonic case management conference without incurring any cost. Second, because Yax is proceeding pro se, there is no question that she and not an attorney is solely responsible for her conduct. And there's ample record evidence that Yax's failure to appear have prejudiced the opposing party. Every time the plaintiff and her attorney travel to Jackson for a hearing, they incur nearly $900 in expenses. When she plays this game of Lucy and the football. Therefore, I don't understand that reference. Lucy and the football. Therefore, Yax is running up her opponent's bill. That's the definition of prejudice. Lastly, a lesser sanction would not substantially achieve Yax's participation in the lawsuit. Warnings and show cause orders have borne no fruit. If Yax lacks resources, a third award of monetary sanctions would be pointless. Incarceration, meanwhile, would likely be too severe a sanction. Given this record, it is unclear what lesser sanctions could have been appropriate following the district court's warnings and second chances. For these reasons, and on this record, the rare sanction of default judgment is warranted. Did you hear that? Did you see that? For these reasons, and on this record, the rare sanction of default judgment is warranted. So this default judgment is a sanction for behavior. I mean, when a court sanctions you like this, you got to take this seriously. Oh, okay. Thank you. The scoop with Barb. Lucy always pulled the football away just as Charlie Brown was about to kick it. It's moving the goalpost. Right. Okay. Thank you. I appreciate that. That's funny that it's a Charlie Brown reference, considering I have this is what I hear when I hear certain people talk.
Oh, good grief. Yes, ma'am?
So I like Charlie Brown references. Anyway, all right, there's a little bit more shade here, okay? There's a little bit more shade. Conclusion. Andrachio's motion for default motion is granted. An evidentiary hearing is necessary, And this is to answer the question about how much does she have to pay, okay? An evidentiary hearing is necessary to determine an appropriate amount of damages. One will be scheduled shortly. Yax is invited to participate. You guys, this is one of those things. Oh, hello, Mark Pash. Welcome. You know how Emily D. Baker says allegations and shade? This is an order with shade. I mean, this is the court being like, oh bitch, you done disrespected our court. So we're just gonna put a little bit of shade in our order. And you are invited. Yax is invited to participate. And it'll be really interesting to see if she participates. And it'll be interesting to see if, if she participates, if it's teleconference, if she does it from, where she currently lives now. I don't know if she's still in Michigan, but whatever, I don't care. Or she does it from Honolulu, Hawaii, or she does it from like Barbados, or, Fiji or Bora Bora, you just don't know. Yeah, I'm not laughing at you, Mark. I'm laughing at this order. I'm not, the thing is like, you can't freaking, like be like, oh, and be like, I'm not showing up there. I'm not going to court. I'm going to fight for your rights. I'm going to fight for your rights. Well, I'm not going. I'm not going to be there. Sorry. And it's a running theme, right? And it just goes to show that that's what YouTube does, right? YouTube and social media. Yeah. This is what social media does for people. It gives the biggest platform to the loudest voices, whether they're right or they're wrong. Whether they're right or they're wrong, it gives them the biggest voices. And then they get all full of themselves. They believe that, oh my God, I have 16. Quiet, Steve. I got 16,000 subscribers. I'm awesome. Like, yeah, you might be awesome, but maybe it's just that you're awesome at getting attention. You're awesome at being such a jerk or being such a tragedy pimp that people can't, that people need to what you're preying on people's lizard brains, of course. Of course you're able to get their attention because you're tapping into their lizard brain, like the lowest common denominator, the thing that is going to keep them hooked, getting them pissed off, making them feel angry and fearful and all that shit, right? So you get a bunch of followers that way, and oh my God, I'm so awesome. And then you start saying, well, since I'm so awesome, I get to push it. I get to push a line. I didn't see consequences when I did this. So now I'm going to push it further, and I'm going to push it further. And like I've said before, when I know, Shar, I'd be pissed. And when you base your channel model, your channel growth model on drama and just, you have to keep topping yourself. You have to keep escalating. You have to, and it's not based on just, quality content and quality information and, doing something more noble, having some sort of, bringing actually good content. When it's just based on revving people up, you're gonna spin yourself out into the atmosphere at some point. You're gonna burn out faster, and your fall is going to be harder. And this is exactly what happened to Critical K. Sorry, but that's my analysis of the situation. And, you know, it doesn't happen on our time. It doesn't happen when we want it to happen, but it does happen. It eventually happens. So, you know, don't get too comfortable or cocky with bad behavior. Just because YouTube didn't catch it this time doesn't mean they're not going to catch it all the next times that you do it. So anyway, you know, I don't wish bad things on Critical K. I really, really, really don't at all. I hope that she's able to move forward and reinvent herself, and you know, that she's able to reinvent herself in a way that doesn't harm, you know, people on the internet or defame mothers of dead young men who are no longer here, you know, basically a grieving mother, right? So yeah, let me see if I've missed any. Following this on the law tubes has been quite entertainment. Yeah, this document is pretty funny. There's another order in the case that also is pretty funny, but it's repetitive to this one, so I don't want to like bore you guys with it, but I'm just seeing if I missed anybody. Hello, Deborah Cora. I don't think I said hi to you. Yeah, I think I might have seen. All right. Well, you can call me Lynn. Mark. It doesn't matter. I don't care how my name is spelled. Lynn is how I spell it. You can call me Checkmate too. That's fine. That is fine. So I hope you're all planning a great weekend. The weather's really, really nice where I am. We had a very nice walk earlier, me and my doggy, and I'm starting to feel better. I was out walking in my thank you, Shar. I was out walking and I ran into my neighbors and I said hi. And as soon as they heard me talk, they were like, "You're sick, aren't you?" And I'm like, "Wow, like you heard it that quickly?" I mean, I didn't even know that they could tell it like it was noticeable in my voice. And they were standing talking to some other neighbor that I don't really know. Oh, really? Just now? Is this breaking news? Is he being sued by the Rucheks? Is this the Frankie? Thank you, Amelia. Is this the Frankie Ruchek thing that's been brewing? I may need to cover it. Because AD has been problematic. AD's panel was it was one of the first panels I was on. I didn't know what I was getting into. He invited me on after I did my first video about Lana Oriani. So anyway, well, I do wish you all have a great weekend and that you treat everybody kindly, that you treat yourselves kindly, and that you just remember that you just never know what people are going through in their private lives. Oh my God, he's been served. Oh my God. Oh my God. I guess I'm going to have to look into this. Yikes. All right. Have a wonderful weekend, y'all. Thank you very much for being here. I appreciate y'all. And there is a member that did bring this to my attention. She can dox herself if she wants, but I don't want to dox her. And I want to thank that member for bringing this to my attention because I didn't see it before she emailed me. So thank you, everybody. Take care.
brave. Guess I should have known.